Excuse me.
What's good, Council of Comics? We'll be back in 30 seconds. What is good, Council of Comics? Welcome to the weekly live podcast. This is episode 7. Let's go.
Yeah. Shout out to Madness. Yeah. Rogue Nation 845. Bro.
What is good, Council of Comics? Thank you for joining us tonight. This is our weekly live podcast where we talk about certain movies, different subjects that are within the comics. I got Green Shirt Guy with me. I got Cliff the Terminator with me. We're here to talk about some stuff. Tonight we're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4, Part 1. And there's just so much involved in this in Phase 4. That we're going to talk about the first 7 items, which, if I check the list, WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, What If, and The Eternals. We'll also talk about a little news before that, before we get in. But, yo, what's good, guys? How you doing?
My life's been pretty tame, sounds like, after the stories you guys just told.
Yeah. Been a very, very wild weekend. Very wild weekend. My prayers go out to everybody involved in any drama that has been going around.
I'm so glad I was at a wedding.
Right?
Jeez.
I thought getting yelled at by the Bard coach was the craziest thing that happened, but it's good.
Yeah.
Now that seems like a walk in the park.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just a sad setting, you know what I mean? Not to talk about it in any detail, but just talking in general. It's just a sad setting. And we just got to do better as people, honestly, especially in Newburgh and surrounding areas. But that is another time that we can do another live and call it something like Comics in Real Life and talk about real stories. If y'all want to see something like that, leave a comment down below and we'll have like a live that we do during the week, like Comics in Real Life, and we'll take a theme
Comics
from it.
After Dark.
You know what I mean? I think somebody has that already. The After Dark
right?
thing's
Okay.
a little, yeah. Dude's like, John
Comics
Campia. Nah, but it's all
Comics
good.
IRL.
All right. So the first topic for tonight, before we get into the MCU, Hugh Jackman is returning as Wolverine in Deadpool 3.
I heard something very interesting.
What?
That when the Fox purchase was made, everyone's contracts are still active. So if you are going to make any film using any of the X-Men characters, you have to use the actors who are still under contract. So we got an Xavier in the multiverse and they used Patrick Stewart. Deadpool's going to do some stuff with Wolverine. We're using Hugh Jackman. I was very, very fascinated. So all those actors who most recently signed their X-Men contract, right? They are on till 2025. And that may be why we do not hear anything about more X-Men, more mutant stuff happening.
Right. That makes sense.
I mean, this...
Well, didn't they?
We knew this was going to happen.
Jackman for a while, though, because didn't he even say, like, a year or so ago, I'll keep doing them, and somebody else can do my body, and with the way CG is these days, you can just put my head on somebody else's body?
He made some jokes, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong. I mean, we've seen... You could do worse, considering, what the... I mean, as much as I like those Star Wars movies, Leia didn't look great in Rogue One towards the end, because they stayed on her too long. I think Tarkin looked better because it was like on the screen off, so you didn't get a
I
chance to really
am
look at her.
totally with you, and most people say the absolute opposite to me.
What's that? Did
crazy.
she look great?
They're like, she looked great, and Tarkin looked weird, and I'm like, what?
Tarkin, you never really got a chance.
Tarkin looked a lot better to me.
Book, but that's me.
Tarkin looked a lot better. But Deadpool 3.
Yes, Deadpool.
Well, what are we gonna see?
A road trip with Wolverine and Deadpool trying to kill each other while somebody else is trying to kill them.
That might not be bad. That might be, or
I hear it's a variant movie.
That could also be fun.
Like there's multiple different kinds of Wolverines and Deadpools.
What was the deal with in Logan? I mean, I know that's supposed to take place years
in
later.
2029, yeah.
Wasn't there
so Logan still happens. Logan still happens.
Well, no, I know. I'm saying as far as chronologically though, there were clones in that, so it could be clones in this one. They're just it wouldn't not make sense, I guess.
I mean, this is supposed to be the movie that brings him over to the MCU, right?
Right.
So they're fighting variants. That makes a lot more sense to me.
Well, do we see Dakin in this one too, though? Or do they wait for a later movie for that?
For what?
Dakin, Wolverine's son.
Oh, they can. Dakin D. That I think will come later because they still have to introduce the regular Wolverine. You know what I mean? For this universe anyway. But this movie, I'm thinking, is gonna end with him entering into Secret Wars because it's coming out 2024, right? It's the end of his trilogy, and the next big step would be him appearing, I would guess, in Secret Wars. Because Ryan Reynolds rumored to have a huge contract with Marvel.
Well, is it? I mean, Deadpool's been in and out of the Avengers for a couple times too, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to be like cameoing and like like the next Nick Fury.
Yeah,
basically.
And honestly, I think as far as for the Deadpool character, that almost makes more sense. If it's not going to be his movie, just having him on screen for 5-10 minutes, you almost don't want too much Deadpool. Does that make sense? Like you don't want to see him in everything because then you get tired of him.
Also, every time he shows up, if he talks to the fourth wall, people will lose their mind.
Correct.
Because they already can't handle it, but just by watching She-Hulk.
Right.
So if you're watching this thing right here, they play music while they say what's going to happen in the movie.
Oh, is that what it is?
Pretty much, yeah. So when they start doing all these things...
Well, their Twitter war is pretty funny. Have you ever watched them where they just shit on each other for back and forth?
Yeah. They're great friends. That's why I think this is going to be a great movie. This is going to be a great movie.
If nothing else, it's going to be just really crazy to watch. Really fun to watch.
How old's Jackman? He's got to be in his 50s, right?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. But even looking at him right there, look like...
Now, do they tease anymore? The X-Men Origins Ryan Reynolds thing.
I don't know. I'm sure they'll make fun of it.
What was it in 2 that he goes around and shoots everybody?
Yeah, he kills them.
So I mean, do they bring it up again, or do they just leave it alone?
I think they leave it alone. I think he had his little time travel adventure, and that's that.
Right it's true. Now, do you think how his jump over to the MCU, like some are saying that he's like just gonna end up in the MCU and leave though, like it's gonna be Deadpool kills the Fox universe basically, and then he'll end up in the MCU. Like, what about the story that they just built for him and his girl? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right, if he can't bring his girl over, I don't know if it's gonna work.
Yeah, like, does she get killed again in the third one? Like, here we go again. She gets killed again.
Do they bring the old lady over is the question.
Yeah. And Colossus, like...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Colossus is a great character.
Colossus too, I forgot.
I'm not sure.
That guy's great. Sure. I do like him. Well, and you already have Brolin as Cable, so now that Thanos is done, he can do Cable all day.
There's rumors Thanos is coming back in Secret Wars. So as like King Thanos, like
the skinny thin one.
Thanos that won instead of lost, basically. But we'll see.
Do they introduce death too then?
right?
You know?
Oh, I don't think there's a point to introducing death.
Is she already introduced?
Well, that's
No,
true, too.
I mean, again, no, you're doing. Don't torture yourself with hard speculation because
I like that story though.
No,
To
that's
me,
fine.
that
But my
story's
point
better.
is, the most valid introducing characters now, past the point of their comic book validity, annoys the crap out of me. To introduce Death now, when she is most famous for her love affair and interactions with Thanos, is like, why?
Well,
Like-
why not?
Because it's dumb for me. Because it'll be like, oh, this would have been great if we actually got to see her interact with Thanos.
I think that was one of the stories of Thanos that I missed in the MCU.
That's
that was
what I'm
key
saying.
to
Like
me,
if
the death and
if you're gonna
Thanos
bring him back
relationship, because
now,
that was
I-
kind of like what made him do what he did.
right.
You
That's
know
what I'm
I mean?
saying. I think if you bring him back now, I don't know how you don't at least allude to it. Maybe you don't do the
Yeah.
full story, but you got to at least.
She's
mention
already
it,
her
right?
face was shown in Thor on one of the
Was she?
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that's-
remember
that-
which one.
one of the statues at the end. The
Oh,
face
okay.
statues where the kids were fighting.
Yeah. But that's also falls into the Easter egg category more so than, oh yeah, that's officially it.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Okay. Enough with the Deadpool. Okay, I gotta get to the right screen over here. Let's talk about what we came to talk about here. The crazy, yet fun, yet dumb Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
So
we're
we're
only
going to.
We're doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, What If, and the Eternals.
Okay.
And then we'll start next time with Miss Marvel, Hawkeye.
Well, no, Miss Marvel's
Spider-Man.
way after a bunch of these.
Yeah, this is not in a good
That-
chronological
No,
order
I
at
told
all.
you. I had a hard time finding a picture.
Well, wasn't No Way Home before Eternals too as well?
Yeah, No Way Home is the beginning of Phase 4, isn't it?
No,
No,
Eternals
no,
came
Far
out
From
way
Home was the
before
beginning
No Way
of-
Home. This
Far
is right.
From Home
This is
because
right,
Far From Home was
except
the-
for Eternals. Eternals needs to be moved over here somewhere. But this is pretty much right. Because it was
it's
Miss
fairly
Marvel.
close. I think it's only a
Because
couple
remember,
things
Hawkeye came out and they thought there was going to be like a crossover between the end of it and No Way Home. So then No Way Home came out, and then Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and then Thor: Love and Thunder, and
Right.
then we're gonna get Wakanda Forever, and then like this is like Moon Knight is way like Moon
Yeah,
Knight
Moon
should be
Knight's.
over
Well,
here.
Moon Knight's. Yeah, Moon Knight's.
So we got to move
Moon
Moon
Knight's
Knight over there. We'll
before
make
Hawkeye.
Moon. We'll make
No?
Moon Knight. No, it was before Hawkeye. Yeah,
That's
it
what
was
I'm
before
saying.
Hawkeye.
Because
So
Hawkeye
we'll
was
make
that Christmas feel good.
we'll make Eternals the last one we do today, and we'll start the next one with Moon Knight. Then we'll do Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Thor.
Right on. And I'm not
All right.
rewatching everything, but I'll rewatch some.
So starting off the list, we got WandaVision. I thought it was an amazing series. Amazing series.
To start off their TV series, yeah, it was very well done. I think they did a good job of giving us, was it 2 or 3 to start? I think it was at least 2.
No, it's 2 episodes to start.
I
Because
gave
I think
us
if
two.
you just give that first one, people are going, that's it, and it,
Yeah.
you get the 2, and you're like, oh, okay,
Well, even
Yeah,
at the end of the second one, people are still like, what are we watching? You know?
right? But at
The
least
third one, you're like, ooh. And then the fourth one, you're like, oh my God.
was the fourth one where we go outside the story too? I can't
Yes,
remember.
yes.
Okay.
The fourth one is where we officially meet Monica, and like
Right.
not just like because the third one is who are you? What are you doing here? And then she just blasts her out of the town.
Right.
Right. So WandaVision is basically the story of Wanda being hella sad that she doesn't have vision. So she basically reworks reality and takes over a town, literally recreates Vision.
Yes.
Like that was Vision.
Mm-hmm. Well,
she does it so well that she
Her
convinces
vision, though,
herself,
because-
basically. She
even
convinces
he at
herself
times-
that it's real,
Yeah.
but it is real, right?
Hey, she does such a good job. Vision believes he's Vision.
Exactly. And then it's a few episodes of like showing like old school comedy genres. You have the black and
love
white, which was Bewitched, correct? That was
The
the first
second
one.
one is Bewitched. The first one is Dick Van
Dick
Dyke.
Van Dyke.
The first one is Dick Van Dyke. The second one is Bewitched. The third one is
The Brady Bunch.
the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, that's right.
The fourth one is Family Ties, I believe, right?
I think there's 2 in the fourth one. Because doesn't that where the kids jump in age too in the fourth
Yes.
one?
Yeah.
So I think there's actually
Well,
2 in that one. I think
one of
it
them
starts
one of-
off as Family Ties, and then when the set changes, it's something else from the 80s. But I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. We actually see for the first time White Vision.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a big character.
Isn't Damage Control introduced in this too? At the end, at like one of the last episodes, or am I thinking of a different show?
I'm not sure.
Now, Damage Control is heavily featured in Miss Marvel.
No, well I know that, but I thought they teased him in this one. But maybe I'm thinking because isn't that guy the smarmy guy that's like go get him?
Yeah.
I thought he was at the end.
No, yeah, but it's like Shield and Sword is really at the forefront of this show.
Right.
We got comments from Mark Robert Tambini. Says you
Yeah,
got to separate film canon from book canon. There are similarities, but tons of major differences. It looks pretty good. And Evan says, "Suh." Know what I mean? What's good, Evan?
Mark's in Florida near them hurricanes. He's got to stay safe.
Oh man, stay
Please
safe out
do.
there, bro. We appreciate you tuning in here. So, WandaVision ends on what note?
Well, you would think that Wanda's gonna go and like, go be a better Scarlet Witch.
Well,
And then,
wait, no, don't go past it. Don't go
we're
past
gonna
it.
gloss over Agnes. We didn't even talk
Ah,
about
yes,
Agnes.
the introduction of Agatha
I mean,
Harkness.
she's big.
And Monica Rambeau.
yeah,
And Rambo too, but
And more-
Agnes is the
and
one
more
that makes that
Skrulls.
story.
more scrolls because there's a
More
hint
Skrulls.
to Secret Invasion.
Yes. So when Wanda creates this town, Monica, the son of Maria Rambeau from the Captain Marvel movies, she's part of the. Is it called Sword? It's called Sword, right?
It is Sword, yeah.
So she's part of Sword, and they go and investigate the town. She ends up going through the shields, right? The field.
Yep.
She goes through it.
Right.
They don't mention it yet, but her molecules are being changed. And she went through it a couple times, correct?
Well, she forces herself through the one time, right?
She went through it a
Yeah.
couple times. That's why it's given. The second time was really the boost to like
Right.
give her the powers, I think. So she goes in there. She becomes a part of Wanda's world. Sometimes she remembers who she is. Sometimes she doesn't. But basically, Wanda has convinced herself that this is real. She's got kids. She creates the kids, Tommy and Billy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tommy and Billy, which end up in the comic books are Wiccan and Speed. Just a couple more Young Avengers that are being added on to what we will see now in this Phase 4 is a lot of Young Avengers showing up in different projects.
Mhm.
So Dream Vision or Wanda Reality Vision is confronted, and the army has took Vision's body and recreated him. Now that it's all coming back to me now, they tricked Wanda into coming in, right? Because they wanted her to see him all like that. But they wanted her to put him back together or something like that.
I think they wanted to be like, hey, that's the way I remember. I like this is the one I didn't rewatch. Like I said, I think it's one of those. Hey, he's dead. He's our property. And then she's like, no. And then she's like, that's when. If you remember, she just kind of walks through like it's no big deal. They want to stop her, but there's not a whole lot they can do because they don't realize just how powerful she is. And then she puts them back together, but it still doesn't work if I remember correctly. Remember, he's completely torn apart on that table, and she's like takes part of him. Yeah.
Okay. But the military end up they took her powers to bring him back.
Right.
Because that was the only way to make him come back.
Right. Because they couldn't get everything to work.
Right. So now he's like this drone Vision, basically, of the military. He ends up meeting the real Vision. They have this war of the minds where the reality Vision is telling him about the ship that was found, and if they rebuilt everything as a part of the ship, is it still the same ship?
Yeah.
Even though all the bolts and everything have been put with new bolts and stuff like that. And basically mind blows White Vision. And White Vision crashes through the ceiling and is gone and never be seen again.
That's right. Evan's got 2 comments for one.
Or not.
Evan, here's what I would want to say about Marvel related. I feel like Phase 5 and Phase 6 is going to be much more bigger impact, with Phase 4 is just the beginning. So far from what we've seen, Phase 4, Phase 5 is something very interesting. Things are going to be a bit more tense before Phase 6 arrives. We all know that Kang is the main antagonist for the multiverse saga.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then in this one, Darcy's grown up.
Yeah, she's Dr.
Right.
Darcy.
There's Dr. Darcy now, one of our faves. Darcy's a fave. Darcy's definitely a fave.
And she's the one that kind of figures out what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Through some, like how you see right now with the TV, it's weird. Like there's some signals that are being given out. She's able to pick up the signals. And it's just, you have to watch it to see it. It's very wild. It's very good. It ends on Wanda making the city go back to normal. She says she's sorry for what she did. She has to make Vision disappear. She makes her kids disappear. She's very sad. And the post-credit scene.
Is it the last episode too, where you kind of go back to see where she started, where you see just the foundation of the house that they were gonna have?
Yeah.
Yes.
She basically made Vision's dream come true. She made his dream a reality, basically, by using her hex magic. But she unmakes all of that. She defeats Agatha Harkness. And the end post-credit scene is her at Wundagore Mountain. And she's going through the Darkhold.
Yep, which comes up later.
She's looking for her kids. And that's the end of that.
Well, she's not particularly looking for them. She's using the Darkhold, but then she hears her children call out to her.
Right. She's studying. Well, she's more studying the Darkhold than anything else. She's like, oh, I can, expand my knowledge, if you will.
All right. And then the next show up, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
For me, in this phase is in the if it's not the top show, it's right there. It's from top episode 1 to episode 6 or whatever. It's great.
All my windows have just closed on me. All right.
It's so good it exploded your computer.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. All right, keep talking. Let's just talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I'll get
Falcon and the Winter Soldier is excellent. It actually is one of the few Marvel things that addresses the 5-year gap head on.
Yes.
Okay. The world was really getting along very well together in the 5-year gap. And then all the scumbags who want to make sure that we are not united and everything's ruined, they're all back. Right? And as long as all the lovely, innocent people that some of us miss. But the problem is like, they want everything back to the way it was. The borders go back, send everybody home, even though people move to other countries to help rebuild infrastructure across the planet. Right? And you need to go. Yeah, and all the problems that went away 5 years earlier are immediately returned with the return of the population from the, what do we call the second snap?
The blip.
The blip.
The return?
Yeah.
Because something's going on with my internet.
But even at that, you get some of the real world consequences of people who were gone that are trying to reintroduce themselves to life now, where you see Sam trying to get a loan and the guy's like, yeah, but you haven't had any income for the last 5 years. He's like, yeah, well, I blipped. What do you want me to do?
And like, I'm an Avenger, which, by the way, it keeps coming up, but like, I'm pretty sure the Avengers have a payroll. I can't believe
you would think that Tony pays them, right?
Right? Like, Tony pays them, the government pays them. It's a little bit of both. I don't know. But like, I'm just saying.
He says he has government contracts, but how much of those? You would think for a guy that an Avenger, his government contracts got to be decent. I mean, if you're a plumber that's got a government contract, you're doing all right.
So yeah, that whole scene was just really just shitty, and just like a reminder of like, just the bullshit and the racism that people deal with and everything.
I appreciate you guys.
What threw me too was that in this one is obviously people's hairstyles change, but and they do different things as far as that goes with the characters. But Bucky's arm is a completely different color. It's black and gold in this one.
Yeah, but isn't that after the Wakanda effect?
Well, no, because he has it in Endgame, and it doesn't look like that in Endgame. It's still silver in Endgame. Remember?
Well, then I have to believe that Wakanda gave him a little upgrade since Endgame.
No, and if they did, that's great. But it's never addressed. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, In fact, the interplay between him and Bucky is probably one of the great buddy cop. We hate each other, but we make up at the end. Stories in all of the MCU, because you get the whole where the scene where one of my favorite scenes, the scene where the therapist forces Sam to come back and talk to, and then they're both trying to one up each other and how they're not affected by what's going on, and that they make them do that. She makes them do the gaze thing, and they're almost kissing each other, like fuck you, I'm tougher than you, and I'm okay with this.
I just love the show. I really do. Like everything about it is right.
And we get to see Zemo in his mask, which to me,
did you guys talk about Truth?
But we got to see it at least.
Did you talk about Truth?
And I tell you who I feel bad is it's Kurt Russell's son that plays Walker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the guy because I hated him through this whole series, and you're supposed to, I guess. But he's a good actor. It's not his fault that I can't stand
Mark also is like, I hate U.S. agents now. It's like, we all agree, man. We all agree.
The guy just did his job. It's not his fault. I just couldn't stand him.
I am a little bit happy for him that at least he had one moment of redemption in the final episode. Right?
Remind me, I can't remember.
It was like, you can continue to hunt me down, or you can actually try to save that truck full of innocent people. And he went and tried to save the innocent people, after all the shitty stuff he had done.
I mean, you got some iconic moments in this series, because think about that scene where he kills the guy with the shield, and then you get that, he does the whole, and you see it on the bottom of the shield, and you're like, whoa! I just remember thinking that at the end of that episode, I'm like, whoa, that was a bridge too far. But I wonder if we would have seen that, 5-6 years ago.
No, but I feel like the whole movie environment, the whole reality environment, everything was like, this is the right place for this.
Absolutely.
What about the villain?
Which one? Because there's more than
one.
I
was gonna say, which one? Because apparently Sharon's the villain.
But Zemo's very anti, and then we completely forgot about Carter.
Yeah,
in my mind, she's still kind of a villain. She's an anti-hero at best.
Right, but I think she's a villain because when she leaves at the end, it's like, wait a second, like,
right. And we get Madripoor in this one too.
Yes.
So I feel like in this phase we're getting teased with the X-Men. And eventually we'll see them, but we're getting teased now. Like, well, we'll give you some X-Men adjacent stuff, but we're not actually going to show them to you till we actually, bring them in.
Which, by the way, I wouldn't be mad if they used the young X-Men actors to bring them in.
No. Me either.
I
I like McAvoy as Professor X. I think he's good.
I would just do that whole thing of like, oh, that must have been an alternate reality, and then just keep going.
Mark says, I mean, maybe that's the best part of his character. Yeah, they nailed that aspect of it. Love Zemo, Magiport, big reveal. All right. So what were the end credits?
Pull our skulls off in Phase 4. Well, Phase 5, Mark, but yeah, probably.
What were the end credits?
Like I said, I watched most of it today, and then I fell asleep during the episode that I loved, so I was going to rewatch it tonight. I don't remember.
Oh, I do remember.
At the very end,
I remember.
It turns to Captain in the Winter Soldier instead of Falcon. The credits change.
What's her face?
That Sharon Carter is up to no good.
Yeah, Sharon Carter's up to no good. Was it in the show that he got his U.S. agent outfit?
Yes. Well,
he
has it, and then remember Valentina shows up and she goes, "Well, we need a U.S. agent or some nonsense." She kind of teases, and then yeah.
Okay, so that's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now we're gonna jump to Black Widow,
which I love.
These ones that we're talking about here, just to be clear, there's no timeline in Phase 4. It's just story after story. You got to figure it out for these first 7, so it doesn't really matter what their release dates and all that.
We do know that the post-credit scene of Black Widow takes place around the same time as Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it takes place before Hawkeye. So, like, there is some timeline there.
Yes.
And this was supposed to come out before the shows, but,
and introduce us to
a little virus got in the way.
Yeah. It takes place before Infinity War.
Sort of.
It takes place after Civil War.
Post-Civil War.
Before Infinity War, though.
But yeah, it's kind of in between. Yeah. It kind of overlaps with the end of Civil War, though, right? Because they say something along the lines of, we already have Rogers and we already have...
They're coming for you. Tony tells them they're coming for you. She's basically on the run in this. Right. She's going... Why did she go to seek out Yelena and all that? Do we know?
She goes there because she finds... Remember, she gets the stuff from the guy, and he says, I still have all of your... I have all the stuff you left in Budapest in the apartment or whatever. And then she goes to get gas because the generator dies when she's hiding out. And that's when, when Taskmaster attacks her, and she goes, well, I got to go figure out who's hanging out in this apartment if somebody's there. And that's how they run it. They just happen to run into each other. I don't think she's looking for it per se, so much as I'm going here, and they run it. And then, remember, she's outside the door, and Yelena yells out something like, I know you're there. And then she walks in the door, and then they have their fight, love conversation.
Right. And then they end up going, as you see on screen, to finding their family. And their father-like figure is Red Guardian, played by Mr. Harbour himself, which I thought was great. I thought he was a great character.
He was good. Yep.
You know what I mean? He talks about how he fought Captain America in the 80s. He swears to it. He swears to it in the prison.
And then, that's a great scene.
His uniform is too tight because he's out of shape. And we also meet Taskmaster, which is the MCU's version of Taskmaster. Well, in this one, Taskmaster has been gender switched. It's a female now.
It's a Black Widow, essentially.
Yeah, she's a Black Widow. And she has like mechanical stuff that can help her learn how to fight. Where in the comics, Taskmaster, he just, I guess, I don't know if it was a power he had.
He's a muscle mimic. He's basically a mutant.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just changing this up. And they're going to what? They went to free him, free Red Guardian. And now the Black Widows who have been taken over by Taskmaster, they're going after them so they can free all the Black Widows, basically, because the Black Widows are
Well, they're going to destroy the Red Room. They're just going to destroy the Red Room because because Natasha thinks it was done when she assumes she kills Dreykov, and then finds out he's not dead, and then she's like, "Oh, the Red Room's still going. We need to go take that down."
Oh my God, yo, Taskmaster injected himself with an SS formula that Horst Gorsh worked on, and so it's related to the cortisol. It's related to cortisol, and it works on your procedural memory and your muscle memory, and so yeah, he's a super soldier. Great in the comics.
Another one, another super soldier.
I just say that even though like the Black Widow movie didn't wow me, it still was like one of the best casts like in a long time, and like it was just hard on my brain. But like I love the cast. I love a lot of moments from that movie, but it also does not make it to my rewatch list.
Yeah,
I like it. I watched it today and had a good time. And my wife had never seen it, so she sat down and watched it with me, and she enjoyed it.
I think Yelena is the biggest thing in this movie.
But yeah,
yes,
Yelena is the star of the show to me.
No, but she is the star. But everybody's great, you know. Like everybody puts in a good performance. Like I have a good time with the movie.
Like I think what really affects this movie is that you know that she's dead already.
Yeah, I really think that puts a big damper on it.
You know what I mean? So you know that there's no Taskmaster's gonna kill her in this movie or anything like that. So, but Yelena comes out, Florence Pugh. Yo, she's amazing. And when she shows up again in Hawkeye, like continuing the role, amazing. A great ad. I think she'll be a better Black Widow than Scarlett Johansson.
Well, did you see her on that show that was on AMC? It was a small miniseries. I'm trying to think what it was called. And it was a slow burn, like she was more or less like an undercover agent trying to take down this drug dealer. And there's a lot, but yeah. And that's what the first time I saw her or anything. And then I heard she was going to be in this. I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes.
I mean, I saw her in Midsommar, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that was it for me.
She's in the new, what is it? Darling, the Olivia Wilde movie that just came out.
It looks good. Don't worry, darling.
It's filled with drama.
You know what? The movie's actually pretty damn good. Maybe not as good as the drama in real life, but the movie's pretty damn good.
All right. So we're gonna get what were the end credit scenes for this?
Yelena at the gravesite, and then Valentina showing up and saying, "Hey, you want a shot at the guy who took out your sister?"
And shows her Hawkeye.
That was the only one?
That's basically it.
Okay. So yeah, that'll have repercussions going into the Hawkeye TV show. Next up on the list. I have to do this like solo budget wise because it totally erased all my other stuff. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Woo!
Cliff, what is your opinion on this movie?
I had a wonderful time. Thought it was freaking great. And my bar was really low. Because like I don't know, like I really had a lot of people were calling it Marvel fatigue or whatever, but like I don't know, I just feel like everybody got wonky after Black Widow. So when I went into this, I didn't know what to think, and then I was like, oh my god, I really love this.
Yeah, this was a good movie. I actually want to watch it again.
I didn't love it.
I loved the beginning of it, and then to me it dragged.
Yeah,
it dragged when?
Right about the time before they go in to to go see the mother, and then that whole battle scene was like, this is just I didn't care.
It had some slow moments.
All the stuff leading up to that was great, but the actual fighting of the dragons and all that was like, I've seen this before.
I don't know why like people were really taken out of it. I was having a good time.
I didn't hate it. I just didn't. It like you said that with Black Widow, it's not a rewatch for you. I will rewatch this one, but it's not top of my list.
I agree.
Yeah,
I thought it was
I
really
was gonna say,
good.
I have watched this like 3 or 4 times.
I have to watch it again. The second time might pull me super closer in, but I like the part with the Abomination and Wong.
I think they're
fighting in the tournament.
Yeah, there's also a Black Widow fighting in that tournament too.
Yeah, I like the fight between him and his dad. That was pretty touching, pretty cool. And her, what's her name again? His sidekick / non-love interest.
Hold on, I'll look it up for you. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Man, what is her name?
Well,
the Church. You must help us, Church. Aquafina. It is Aquafina.
That's her real
name.
celebrity.
Katie.
Yeah, that's
her name's Katie.
Katie. Her name's Katie in the movie. But she plays a really good part. She's very good at comic relief. I don't know, man. There's just something. I gotta watch it again because I know the first time I watched it, I was like, "This is good," but it's not Black Panther good. You know what I mean?
Black Panther is based on his own freaking nation, and like this is based on a pre-existing culture, and then we're trying to blend mythology into it and course correct some poor decisions that were previously used in the Marvel Universe at the same time.
Right. So we actually get to meet the real Mandarin in this movie. We also get the character that tried to play a fake version of him. He comes back. I think he's phenomenal. He's returning in another series, Wonder Man. He's going to be in the Wonder Man.
Because he's an actor, so that makes perfect sense.
He's going to be in the Wonder Man series, so it's good to see him taking on that role. They set up Shang-Chi as the rings that he has at the end of the movie are a beacon, or they're sending out a beacon. They don't know where it's coming from, if it's from this timeline, all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. They just know that it's sending out a signal to someone. And they bring in the Avengers, they bring in Captain Marvel, they bring in Bruce Banner, and Captain Marvel has no idea what kind of rings these are. They're not found in any archive. They're not found in any of that stuff. So the heroes are with a mystery. And that's pretty much how it ends. And the other end credit scene is them doing karaoke. Right?
That's right. That's right.
Hotel California.
Good song.
So overall, I think this was a really, really good movie. I think it stumbles because it's in Phase 4. And Phase 4 doesn't really have a foundation line, a through line.
No, it does not.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Well, but this sets we're going somewhere, because I didn't even think with Black Widow, it was as much as you get it's going somewhere with Yelena, it's really kind of rooted still in one of the old, Phase 3, really, more than anything else, or 2, for that matter. Whereas this one, at least, it's its own. It's really the first.
The other after credit scene, the 10 rings. His sister. His sister
that's right.
Takes over the 10 rings.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be big.
I wonder if they're gonna show up in the Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts is supposed to be huge, man.
So I mean, if the 10 rings gets involved,
Thunderbolts
is gonna
be an Avengers movie with everybody.
From what I hear, because now Armor Wars is a movie now.
Yeah.
So the trilogy is Armor Wars, Captain America, Thunderbolts. And it's like a through line going into like a lot of Hulks. I don't know if it's necessarily World War Hulk, but it's a very deep like Hulk storyline. And I'm thinking if they're moving Armor Wars to a movie, I'm probably like 95% wrong, but they probably got Robert Downey Jr. to come back for a little money to be AI, Tony Stark.
AI for something, yes.
And says shit. If he's probably like, I don't want to do Disney Plus. All right, we'll make it a movie. You know what I mean?
which is great because I would love for Don Cheadle to get the movie star treatment, right?
Exactly.
Because he's been here long enough. I'm like, dude, why don't you have your own movie? You have been War Machine, like.
Yeah, and he's co-starring in Secret Invasion.
I think that's an excellent setup.
Yeah.
To like re-establish his presence. Which, by the way, him showing up at the beginning of Falcon and Winter Soldier was excellent as well. I love the tone that it set.
Mm-hmm.
When he's like, dude, he left the shield to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
what if he's a Skrull?
No, I don't think so.
Next on the list.
No, I think Sharon Carter's a Skrull. That's for sure.
Possibly. That's a big percentage
call.
on that.
I wouldn't even thought of that. That's a very good call.
Next on the list, the groundbreaking Marvel Studios Loki. This was an amazing television show.
You know, this was a great show, but again, I don't really go back to it, and some of it is kind of slow. But I love everybody in it, and I can't wait for more. But like, it's not one of those. Oh, I can't. It's like I can't wait to binge this again. I'm like,
It's a Loki redemption story to a greater degree, but that Kang episode fucking drags. It is so dry and boring.
But I love that though.
But that it's also
I don't love that.
So
that
out of
actor,
left
to be honest
field.
with you. I'm sorry.
What?
No, what did you say? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said it was very out of left field for me.
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't. Not that it didn't feel organic to that story, but it didn't. It definitely felt like you were going down one path, and at the end, like, oh, by the way, we have to give you Kang.
Right. I was like, the thing is like every great mystery story, you have all the clues, and you even have a suspect are all in the first act, right? That was absolutely not the case here. This was just a straight up roller coaster, and then when you got off, it was like, Kang, motherfuckers, enjoy.
Yes. Yeah,
but to be fair, they built up to Kang.
But
they didn't just drop him on you.
I didn't feel
they gave little leaks and stuff like that, like somebody else was behind this whole thing.
Right, but the reveal was, oh my God, you're this person we've never seen before.
Right, and we're supposed to all know who you are and be okay with that. I'll say this much. I think I didn't love the actor. I don't know. He came off snarky and pompous, which Kang's supposed to be.
He's playing a Mortis. And by the way, is Kang not snarky and pompous?
Yeah,
no, he is. It just didn't. Maybe he's doing a good job. I didn't like him.
Well, we're not supposed to like him. He's supposed to be the big bad.
Correct.
You didn't like his performance.
Even with Thanos is the big bad. But I'm like, all right, I get it. This guy, I was like, eh.
Well, what I like about this, even though we won't know it until later. We wouldn't come to know it until later. Is that this actually gives us that foundation that we've been looking for of what this phase is going to be about.
The
multiverse. So you could say this is the thing that kicks off everything. Because everything we watched before has literally nothing to do with the multiverse. Because even in WandaVision, that had nothing to do with the multiverse. That was just Wanda being Wanda.
Her powers were tapping into the fabric of reality. And I do not feel like that should be left unassumed.
Right, but there wasn't like alternate Wandas.
No, but when Monica is marching through the reality warp field, like what exactly do you think is happening to her? Because like she looks like she's multiple phases of Monica pushing through the field.
That's a good one. I'll give you that.
Inadvertently, Wanda is tapping into the fabric of the multiverse with her reality warping power that she didn't even comprehend she had.
Right. So, real quick on this show, the Loki from Avengers Endgame that disappeared with the Tesseract escapes, and he is captured by the TVA. The TVA is the Time Variance Authority. Time Variance Authority watches over all the timelines in the multiverse and makes sure that there's one main timeline, and they cut off anything that extends out of it. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
He meets up with Mobius, Mobius, played by what's his name? That's
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. And Owen Wilson and Loki basically go through different timelines?
Yes.
Through different timelines to
specific moments in time to try to figure it out as a case. Then they realize they're dealing with another Loki. Then they're like, well, how is this Loki hiding from us? Which Loki realizes that the other Loki is hiding in disasters, right? Because big epic disasters like Pompeii, you can hide there because there's so much temporal occurrence. It's a good hideout.
Correct. Continue, Cliff.
Funny how they encounter Loki, and of course the Loki variant is a female, and Loki kind of start falling in love, which is interesting. And then we find out that basically every Loki is bisexual. And we also see Lizard Loki and Kid Loki, who's the Young Avengers, so we may see him again.
Crocodile Loki.
Yeah, old school Loki.
I must take a phone call. I need you to continue for me.
Vote Loki.
Yeah,
you get to see the vote. Briefly, but you get to see him.
I mean, he's there to be a menace for a couple minutes. That's cool.
I think I tell you who the best Loki for me in the entire series, and I hate to say this with Tom Hiddleston in the show, is the one at the end that allows them to get away. I can never remember the actor's name, the British guy.
Oh, I love that Loki.
He's amazing in this show, and he's only in 2 episodes?
Yes, but he is amazing.
Right?
Like he's the one who hid away for a long time, and it wouldn't have done anything except one day he decided to leave his refuge and go find his brother, and that's what caused the variant.
Right. And you get to see the classic Loki costume with him too.
Yes, which was really cool. But all the Lokis were very impressive.
Oh, and actually, you think about that too. In this series, this particular Loki doesn't know that he dies later at the hands of Thanos. So you get to
that was a great scene. That was amazing.
Point. That's his. Oh, I really should change my ways type thing.
Yeah, no, that was whoa, what happened here? He was
he gets his second chance. You know what I mean? Right. Before he dies.
And how about when he goes and finds the stones in that guy's desk? He's like, yeah,
they don't work. That shit was hilarious, bro. So you know what you've got in here,
right?
Yeah, they're pointless. They're Tinker Toys here.
That was great. So Loki they end up meeting He Who Remains. Is that what he's called?
Yes.
At the end of time, which is Kang, basically. And he warns him that I'm the Kang that's holding back all the other bad Kangs. If you kill me, everything's going to go wild and you won't be able to handle it. And he explains the whole history of Kang and everything. But the lady Loki was like, bump that. I don't care. You destroyed my life. I'm going to kill you. And she tricks Loki and sends him through the portal that goes back to the home base. And she kills He Who Remains. And then you begin to see the timelines go crazy, fracturing everywhere. Loki shows up at his base, and come to find out, they don't even know who he is because he looks up at a statue, and it's a statue of Kang the Conqueror. And that is the end of Loki.
Season 1.
Season 1. There were no end credits, right?
Nope. That was it. It was just boom.
Boom. So, and then next up, and I think we'll end on this.
Oh, and everyone from the TVA is a variant. Everyone
is a variant.
That's right.
Correct.
That's right.
Reveal.
Correct. I'm trying to find the next one. Did you talk about the different variants?
Yes.
Like the crocodile one.
The crocodile one's the best.
It really is.
But how they used old school Loki with that costume.
Old school Loki is super the best, though.
Yeah, he was a great
What was the
character.
one that was in the jar? Remember when they
The
walked
one in
by
the
and
jar
see the jar
is
on the
Frog
ground?
of Thunder. It's Frog of
That's
Thunder
right.
who's in the jar.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. They show him buried underneath everything.
Yep.
All right, now I've got the next one here. As soon as it says buffering, I thought I was paying for great internet, but I guess I didn't. But that's all
It's
right.
probably because you got that She-Hulk crap up in the corner.
Which we'll talk about on Tuesday.
How dare you?
Next up,
I'm
we'll
trying
end on
to
this
get in
one.
this show.
We'll end on this
that
one right
last
here.
Episode, I was like, I just didn't care at all.
Marvel Studios What If animated show. It was a collection of 8, right?
8
That
episodes
sounds right.
because COVID made it impossible to have all 9.
Yeah. I like this. This was pretty cool. The only problem that I had with it was like they faced a greater threat here than in anything. And Ultron with the Infinity. Come on, son. Come on, son. This was crazy better than Doctor
I love
Strange.
the animation style of this.
So
the animation style for me was the best.
Yeah, I can't wait for season 2. So they basically had 8 episodes where they're leading up to Ultron getting the Infinity Stones, which kind of throws canon out because I thought Infinity Stones weren't supposed to work outside of their own universe, but apparently Ultron's Infinity Stones can.
Correct, right? That was, but and even the Watcher was like, "How? Why?"
Yeah, and it's soup. I mean, the battle that the Watcher has versus Ultron is just—it was amazing. They also introduced the Marvel Zombies in this show, which are getting their own animated show up in Phase 5.
Captain Carter.
Captain Carter, which we saw in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. Great. I mean, what was your favorite ones? Oh, and the last appearance of Chad Boseman.
Yeah, that's right.
Final appearances
As T'Challa.
Yeah.
The Captain Carter one was pretty great to start it off with. I mean, it's hard to start a series like this, and I think it set the tone. So for me, that's in the top one of the top ones. The last one, final one's pretty great. The zombie one was okay for me, but it just didn't hit right. But I didn't dislike it. It just, I know a lot of people love that one, but for me, it was okay.
Like, I love the last one, but I just felt like I thought they were gonna lead into Doctor Strange with this. You know what I mean? Because he played a big part in this.
I thought they were all going to be complete one-shots until you get to, I think it's the last 2 where you realize they're all kind of doing this type of thing. I thought it was, fully just, kind of like the comics. You get all these what-if one-shots.
Yeah. And this ends with Doctor Strange, Dark, what do they call him? Superior Strange or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
He's got all the powers of... He's got all the powers of everything. And he basically traps Ultron in a ball or something. But then the universes are closing in on him as well. Am I right about this? And then he just basically sustains himself in this lonely place. Right? And that's the end of it. I like this also because it's basically, right after...
The Watcher speaks to him and is like, you brought this upon yourself.
Mm-hmm. And then this
Who's
is basically
the voice of the Watcher? I can't remember.
Oh, it's the guy who the Batman the commissioner.
Oh, Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. Yeah, he plays the Watcher. And this is like the next multiverse chapter. And we're starting to get on that little train of multiverse, which I like. Cliff, what's your favorite episode?
I think it's the what if T'Challa was a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was a great episode. So, yo, Larry Jackson was good, bro. Larry says, hey. And we gotta do a toy show, man. We gotta get Angelo, we gotta get Larry, do a little toy show, talk about some toys. Because that's a big part of this community too. Yeah, so that's the one we're gonna end on with What If. Hopefully we'll
No
see
Eternals?
the Watcher. No, we'll hold off on that because we're hitting that hour.
This phase is too dense,
Yeah,
and
we'll start off next one with the Eternals.
Honestly, just looking at everything that is phase 4, it is screaming in my mind quality over quantity. I feel like they went crazy on quantity this time around.
Yeah, because they were introducing the Disney Plus shows, and they hadn't done that before. Integrating the shows.
And like once upon a time, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so cool, and now I'm like, oh my god, there's just so much stuff. Like, geez, no wonder people are so frantic and unhappy. Like
yeah, we just went through 6 projects, and we're basically gonna have to have 2 other parts to this phase 4 because it's just so.
I'm okay with it though, honestly. I mean, because
I'm kind of okay with it, but like,
with few exceptions, it's been the production value's been pretty good. We can all hem and haw on the stories because I think no matter what, we're always going to do that. Like I like this story as opposed to that one, but it's with rare exception they've not really dipped with the how much they're spending on projects.
No, because they know where the real bread and butter is, and I'm really torn. I think Hawkeye might be the one that has impressed me most.
I did like Hawkeye a lot.
I liked Hawkeye. That was really good.
I rank Hawkeye very high, and of all the miniseries, Hawkeye is the one I watched more than once.
Hawkeye is good because it brings back the Black Widow, and then it also has the Kingpin.
I watched WandaVision twice.
It's got the Kingpin reintroduced.
Yeah, of course. Also, but like just Kate Bishop, I love her.
Out of that one,
Kate, Kate and Yelena interacting, amazing. Learning Hawkeye's wife is a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, like just so many great things.
All right, guys, that's our Marvel Cinematic Phase 4 Part 1. Join us next week. We'll do Part 2. It'll be another 6 films or TV shows in that line. We have not figured it out yet. We'll figure it out by the time the next show is. We want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe below. If you're watching on Facebook, jump on over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button so you can be available for future giveaways and contests. We want to thank you guys for joining. Remember, tomorrow we're doing live again at 8 p.m. We're doing the keys of the week. Know what I mean? We love them keys of the week. And at the end of the keys of the week, we always do the special name every single comic book that comes out this week. We'll be doing that tomorrow live at 8 o'clock. You can also find us on Instagram. You can also find us on TikTok. We want to say thank you guys for joining. We love y'all. For Green Shirt Guy, a.k.a. Ronaldo, for Cliff, and the rest of the Council of Comics, and myself, love you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Peace.